Good day, everyone.
And the watch.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. You're once again welcome to another episode of Community Health Champions Fellowship, Cohort 1. And today we'll be talking about project management, which is the third pillar of this fellowship. Like we all know, Community Health Champions Fellowship is anchored on a tripod of public health principles, strategic community engagement, and project management. This possibly could be the last session which we are going to have, for this fellowship. And I want to believe we must have learned one or two things in the life of this fellowship. Project management is key. It's a very broad, concept that needs a lot of time, a lot of resources for us to actually delve into it properly. But we've been able to just handpick some of the vitals that we think are very much relevant to some of the initiative that we'll be carrying out in the next, anything from today, tomorrow. So we may not be able to do justice to everything, project management, but this could just be an introductory session to project management. So first thing, project management. What do you understand by the word project? And what is project management? Two things are involved. Project management. Okay. So without wasting much time, our definition of project management, as we have it here, project management involves planning, organizing, and overseeing the execution of a project to achieve specific goals within a time frame and budget. There are some things that are very fundamental in this definition. First of all, projects must have some specific goal, and it must be within a particular time frame and budget. So this is going to give you an idea of what a project is. A project is simply an intervention or a program that intends to carry out having a project is an intervention and initiative that you intend to carry out with a specific goal, that you want to achieve in a specific time frame and budget. So these three things are quite very much important in project management. First of all, you must have a specific goal that you intend to carry out, and it must be time bound. It must be time bound. So a project should have a time that it should elapse, or it should have its closing time, or the time that the project is going to be considered to be completed, and it must be done within a requisite budget. So it's important we understand this at the back of our mind. Anytime we think of project management, we should know that yes, it involves planning, organizing, and execution of a project to achieve specific goal within a time frame and budget. So the importance of project management for community health initiative, just one, it helps us in effective project management. Effective project management helps the successful completion of health initiatives, leading to improved community well-being and outcomes. Okay. Now, there are five phases of project management that we have listed out, as you can see. Initiation phase, the planning phase, execution phase, monitoring and controlling phase, and the closure phase. The initiation phase, this is where you define what your project objectives are and the scope of the project. And this is when you identify all the relevant stakeholders, that are concerned with what you intend to carry out, or with your intervention or initiative. And at this initiation phase, this is where you create your project charter. It helps you in planning. So we'll get to understand this bit by bit. But the main goal that we intend to achieve at the end of this, I will show you how you are going to create a project plan. By the time you want to carry out an intervention, what are the ingredients that must be present if you must carry out your project? So this is the first phase of projects, the initiation phase. So the next one is the planning phase. This is where you are expected to develop your project plan. Like I said, we'll discuss on how to develop a project plan. No matter how simple, no matter what project you intend to carry out, it's always good you have a project plan. It keeps you in check. It helps you to know that to anybody who sees your project plan, the person will know that yes, you know what you're doing. You're not just working, haphazardly. You are well prepared. You must have done your homework correctly. So develop a project plan, and in the planning phase, you should define what your tasks are and what are the milestones that you are expected to achieve at the end of the day. And this is where you also allocate resources. The resources that you have or that you intend to mobilize at the end of the day, how do you intend to allocate these resources? What amount should go for these particular deliverables? What amount should go for this? This is where you allocate the resources in the planning phase. And this is where you create a timeline. These projects, like we all know, all projects are time bound. They have a lifeline. They don't exist endlessly. They have a starting point and they have ending points. So you cannot do a project for a very long time, endlessly. A project can be a 6-month project, a 1-month project, it can be a week project, it can be 2 years, 3 year, it can be 5-year project, it can be 7-year, usually very short. A project is not meant to last for 50 years, no. It's something that you should have a moderate time attached to the project, okay? So that is it. Execution, the execution phase, this is where the main project begins. This is where you are expected to implement the project plan, what you have on your project plan. This is where you implement the project plan. And this is where you begin to assign responsibilities to team members that you have constituted. And this is where you engage in regular meetings and also monitor progress to see what the progress you are making at the end of the day. So monitoring and controlling phase. This is, of course, anything that has to do with monitoring. This is where you track your project performance to see whether it is in line with the set objectives. And this is also where you manage the risks and issues, because every project will certainly have their own risk. So it's important you know what the risks are. And this is where you should manage how to you come up with your strategy on how to manage the risks and issues. And under monitoring and controlling, this is also, it gives you an opportunity to adjust your plans as expected or as needed or as they arise. And also, this is the time to ensure quality standards are met, okay? So the closure has these variables. First is you should think on how to complete the final deliverables, how you can review your project outcomes, and of course, documentation of the lessons learned. Because every project, it's good it documents the lessons learned, the impact of the project. Everything should be documented in such a way that by the time you are preparing your report, you should be able to capture everything in a report and send to the funder or to the donor agency or for other partners who would be interested in seeing the work that you've done. Okay. And this is also the time to celebrate successes. You celebrate your successes. What are the impacts that you have made in the lives of people in the course of this year intervention? No matter how small this impact is, it should be celebrated. This is where it is celebrated. All right. So that is it. Now, the next part is I would want us to look at this project plan, how you can develop a project plan using these simple phases of project management that we have discussed, starting with the initiation up to the point of closure. Okay, so this is a project plan titled Healthy Eating Promotion for Children. Healthy Eating Promotion for Children. You can see it's something related to community health works or public health. Now, a project plan is meant to have, the first thing is a project overview. You should have a project overview in such a way that it will contain the project name, the project manager, and the project duration, and what the objective of the project is. In this case, you can see, in this case, as you can see, our project overview is, the first thing, the project name here is Healthy Kids, Happy Future. And in naming your project, a project name has to be catchy. It has to be unique. It should be able to represent what the intervention is all about. Healthy kids, happy future. So you could see this is about raising healthy kids, and it's about making them happy, raising happy kids for tomorrow. And the project manager, for this is Dr. Peter Musa. It's just a name, okay? So, and the project duration is for 6 months, from March 2024 to September 2024. 6 months project. The objective of this project is to educate and encourage children in the community to adopt healthy eating habits. Fantastic. Anybody who sees this overview, the person has an understanding of what the project titled Healthy Kids, Happy Future is all about. The next point is the project scope. Under the project scope, this is where you conduct your educational workshops in local schools, and this is where you can distribute all your information pamphlets to parents concerning your project which you want to carry out. And of course, under the project scope, this is where you can organize, cooking demonstration for children and parents, because we're talking about healthy uh, kids, how you can organize cooking demonstration for children and parents. Establish partnership with local supermarkets for healthy food promotions. The next point is key deliverables. What are the key deliverables, that you must do in order for you to ensure you meet up to your objectives? The first thing, educational workshop materials, informational pamphlets, cooking demonstration session, partnership agreements with supermarkets. These are deliverables that you must have in place. You should have a workshop conducted. You are going to prepare your informational pamphlets concerning healthy foods and healthy future. You are going to have a cooking demonstration schedule on how you intend to carry a cooking demonstration schedule. This week we are going to this school. The other week we are going to so place, and partnership agreements with supermarkets. How you intend to carry out partnership agreements supermarket concerning this project. Fourth is the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders for this project? Like we all know, you can see it's something that has to do with kids. So we'll be considering local schools, we'll be considering parents, because kids cannot make decisions for themselves. So their parents, as well as their guardians, as the case may be, are considered the stakeholders. Community health organizations, because it's something that has to do with health. So we need to consider some local community-based organizations, and the various supermarkets that we have in the community. And of course, your project team members. These are the stakeholders based on this project. Like we said, your project, the kind of project you intend to carry out will determine who your stakeholders should be. Now, project timeline. You can see the initiation phase. You have to put a certain date to it. I left that blank because this is just for demonstration. So, like we said, under the initiation phase, that is where you define your project goals, your objectives, what objectives they intend to carry out. This is where you state what your objectives are. And this is where you identify the various stakeholders for this project. I develop a project charter. The planning phase, that's where you go extra mile, to develop a workshop curriculum. Okay, you want a workshop on healthy foods. Can you develop a curriculum? What are the things that you want to talk about? Should I talk about balanced diet for kids? What and what you should talk about. You develop a curriculum, for this. And after that, you carry out your design. Are you going to produce any pamphlets, or are you going to produce any book, any document material? Or are you using a PowerPoint slide? If you're using a PowerPoint slide, this is when you design how it's going to look like. Identify cooking demonstrations location. Where are you going to do your cooking demonstration? How to teach children on how to produce healthy foods. You have to demonstrate this physically by engaging in a practical cooking demonstration. So you should allocate or identify your locations. In this community, we are going to do one today. By next week, we're going to do in another community. Everything should be well planned out in this your planning phase. Execution phase. Having done your planning very well, the next thing is for us the implementation of the project. So how do you implement the project? You need to conduct educational workshops in school, distribute the pamphlets that you have created to parents, organize cooking demonstration. All these things should carry dates. For example, from what time are you going to start the execution phase, and from what time do you expect to end? The essence of this is to keep you in check, to ensure that you go with timing. You don't waste time, because project is time bound, and all the demonstrations, all the activities, all the phases are time bound. You try to work with the timing in order for you to achieve the expected goal. Monitoring and controlling phase. You monitor the workshop attendance, So in this case now, because you're carrying out attendance, you should understand what your indicator is. How do you ensure that the workshop was great? You can use an attendance, the workshop attendance, as an indicator to ensure that it was done well. And you can use feedback as well. We've discussed that in our previous sessions. Then evaluate effectiveness of the pamphlet distribution. What was the effectiveness of this pamphlet distribution? Was it very effective, or people were just distributing it anyhow to anybody without any plan? Even those that can read, those that understand the language, and those who don't understand it, to kids who can use it to make kites or any of artistic work, or you are giving it to those who really matter. So you need to evaluate the effectiveness of this pamphlet distribution and ensure smooth execution of the cooking demonstration. This is under monitoring and controlling phase. Mind you, this project plan is with respect to the project healthy kids, healthy future. The closure phase, this is time for you to do a review of the project outcomes. Did you meet the expected goal that you intend to achieve at the end of the day? The documents, what are the lessons learned? Did you make any impact, or what did you learn in the course of this project? Were there any mistakes that needed some corrections? This is where you identify everything. And of course, celebrate your project success. By the time you must have executed your project, you should be able to celebrate. It calls for celebration. The sixth is resource planning. Project involves the coordination and management of a lot of resources. And these resources could be human resources, it could be material resources, it could be financial, it could be technical resources. There are quite different types of resources. Your ability as a project manager is for you to harness these resources to ensure you meet the expected goal at the end of the day. So under human resources, you are going to have, of course, your project manager, who is going to be the project manager, who is going to be the workshop facilitator, because you are going to have workshop. You should have somebody who's going to facilitate the workshop. And do you need volunteers? If you need volunteers, everything should be stated. This is under human resources that you need for this project. Material resources, what are the material things that are required for you to ensure you carry out this project? I'll need a printing material for pamphlets. I'll need a cooking demonstration supplies. If you have to do a cooking demonstration to prepare, a particular set of food, what and what do you need? What kind of cooking materials do you need? Is it pepper? If you need a cooking material for you to prepare rice and beans, you need your rice, you need your beans, you need your stew, you need your tomatoes. This is where you list out the materials that are required for the cooking demonstration. Financial resources. This is where you do budget allocation for workshops. The workshops that you intend to carry out, how many workshops do you want to carry out? And what is the estimated amount of money each workshop is going to cost you. The pamphlet printing, how many copies do you intend to print out at the end of the day, and what's the cost? And demonstration expenses. When you want to do demonstration, how much cost do you require to carry out this demonstration? All this is to give you an idea of the amount of money that this project is expected to to you know that is required to adequately execute this project. All right. So risk management. The risk management session, every project has its own risk. So what are the expected risks that you foresee to have in the course of the implementation of this project? First, based on this project, low attendance at workshops, anything that has to do with people's attendance is a risk that you expect low attendance at workshop. So what are the strategies that you put out there to mitigate this low attendance? Number one is increase promotion efforts through social media and local advertisement. So if you have your risk, you should have a strategy that you can use to mitigate it. The second risk is difficulty in securing supermarket partnership, because it's how do you ensure that you get the partnership from various supermarkets in that community? One of the ways you can mitigate that is by offering incentives such as free advertising for supermarkets. You can say, okay, in this workshop is expected to reach out to 1,000 young children, and it's a platform for you to advertise your products of supermarket for kids. So any supermarket that is interested in it is increasing its sales outlets or sales can decide to say, okay, this is an opportunity for me to partner with you in order for me to increase my advertisement for free to so many other children. Okay, so this is one of the strategies you can use to mitigate it. All right. Communication plan. What are the communication plans that you have? Regular updates via emails to stakeholders. Like we know, we have identified the various stakeholders, the local schools in the community, markets, and what have you, parents. So how do you intend to communicate to these parents? Is it via a telephone call? If it's via a telephone call, it should be stated on your communication plan. If it is via email, it should be stated. And how often is this communication going to happen? Everything should be stated. For monthly progress reports to project team, do you intend to carry out monthly progress reports to update every member of the team to ensure the success is recorded? What are the challenges in the course of the implementation of this project? Is it going to be on a monthly basis, or is it going to be on a weekly basis, or is it going to be on a quarterly basis? The life of your project determines how often you should do this reporting. Okay, some, depending on the kind of project they do daily reporting. They have a platform where they report activities daily for everybody to see. Okay, maybe there's a general WhatsApp platform. You report all the activities that you have done individually on the platform, or maybe they have a template where you impute what you have done on that day. Or some can decide to do it on a weekly basis, some on a monthly basis. The choice is yours. It all depends on what you can handle and what you can manage. Quality assurance. How do we ensure that we get the best from this project? You want to carry a workshop. What is the guarantee that the workshop is going to be beneficial to the kids? Because we are trying to see how we can increase their nutritional uptake. So the workshop, did you have anybody that reviewed the materials of the workshop? And the facilitator of the workshop, who is the person? Is he a qualified nutritionist? Because you're talking about how you can improve, how you can produce healthy kids. It has to be through good nutrition. So workshop content should be reviewed by a nutritionist or a dietitian or whatever be the case. Pamphlets has to be proofread for accuracy and clarity. Whatever pamphlets you make, you should pass it out to a third party who is a professional to identify the flaws, to identify the language you use. Are you is the pamphlet culturally sensitive, or does it include an image that is not supposed to be there? Or which image should we use on these pamphlets? We should change this word for another. So everything should be proofread. Cooking demonstration monitored for safety and effectiveness. In cooking demonstration, the issues of hygiene, the issue of using, food produce that have high quality, should be paramount. This should be considered. Thank you. So you can see this is a very brief one in case to just give us an insight on how to understand the cause of project management. And I wouldn't want to say much. If we have any contributor from the session, feel free to raise your hand so that we can allow you to add more inputs or ask your questions. But if you don't, then is any hand up? Any question, any contribution? Pardon? Thank you very much, Alphas. Wonderful session indeed. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Abu Yahya Abubakar, for such a comment. Any other question? Thank you very much, Rumbi. Any other question, contributions, further clarification, criticism? Nobody is willing to say something today. It's like we don't like this project. Okay, I can see Han Study Kenya. You have the floor, please.
I just have a question. Nashon Nyahera from Kenya. And my question is on closing a project, because I've been somewhere and also somebody said every project must have a closure. Now, when we are talking about sustainability, because when we say, for example, a project has to last for 6 months or 1 year or 2 years, and we are saying that when you are writing a project proposal, it must have a closure part where you are saying this is how it will close. What is the place of sustainability or continuity of that project? For example, we are talking about community health systems. We may be last week we were dealing about polio, which took so many years for it to end. How do you factor in that, given that fighting, for example, something like malaria cannot last for 6 months or 1 year? Kindly, thank you.
Thank you very much for that brilliant question. Is there any other question? If you have question, you can ask the question, but in the absence of none, just respond to this.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Okay.
Good evening. I can hear you.
It's about project
Please,
management.
your name and where you're
Oh,
joining.
I'm sorry. My name is Taiwo Adegoke Rofiat. I am from Lagos, Nigeria.
Where's Lagos?
Did you get that? Yes, Lagos, Center of Excellence.
Lagos is, we have some people from other countries. They may not know where Lagos is.
Lagos, Nigeria.
Excellent. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, my question is about project management. I want you to really go back to the main.
Your voice is very faint. Can you be a bit louder, please?
Is it better now?
Yeah, I'm struggling hearing your voice.
Wow, is it better now?
Yes, better.
Okay, my question is still on the project management, because I've been working on some major outreaches here in Lagos, and then talking about project management, you talked about partnership and collaborations. So how do you really get the interest after you communicating your intentions to your partners? how do you really get your interest from them, and then to get their full participation without thinking one is competing with them, or one is trying to hijack or get their name? That's my question during planning and program implementations. Thank you.
Okay. Any other one? Any other one? Okay, let me try to see. In addition, there should be a buffer for every project in case of unforeseen circumstances. Thank you very much, Ene. Yeah, that's a very brilliant one. Okay, so let's start from the question from study the man from Kenya. I beg your pardon. Okay, so he was talking about how to ensure sustainability of a project. Because every project must surely have a deadline. When the project is expected to elapse. No project should go on for a very long time without an end. Otherwise, it's no longer a project. So on the issue of sustainability, and that's why you could see a lot of partners are always very concerned about sustainability, because you as the initiator of a project, or you as somebody who wants to carry out a project, perhaps you might not be a member of that community, and even if you are, you have limited resources that you intend to utilize at the end of the day. And that's why we're very much particular about whatever project you want to do, there has to be proper community engagement. And by the time you do proper community engagement, you understand who your stakeholders are. And your stakeholders shouldn't be people from another community. Your stakeholders should be those that are affected, or those that have influence, those that can be influenced by the project, or those that are affected that are within the community. So by the time you identify the right stakeholder and they see the benefit of this community, this is what we call community participation or community engagement, by integrating the members of the community into this project. And since they are part of and parcel of the project, even if the project has ended, they would see how they can continue to have this project when the need arises, or how to ensure that this project continues to be in the minds of the community members, because they are part and parcel of the project. Okay, so if there's a need, they should be able to mobilize resources to see how that can be done, because they are part of the project from day one. So the issue of sustainability, it has to be based on identification of the right stakeholders by strategic community engagement, identifying and bringing on board the right stakeholders. That's where it lies. Because if the members of the community are not properly carried along in the course of this project, after you are gone, the project is gone. But by the time they are fully engaged into this projects, even after you are gone, they should be able to call meetings to say, okay, we're having this issue. What do we do? What do we do? How do we circumvent? How do we navigate how do we solve the problems that we are having? Okay, that's part of the community. For instance, let me give you an instance. There was a time we went to a particular community, and we realized that the PHCs, primary healthcare centers in that community, the members of the community had a nonchalant attitude about the facilities, because they believe these facilities belong to the government. They never knew they could do so much to ensure they keep in check the healthcare workforce in that facility. They keep in check the facility itself and all the various amenities within the facility, until we did a project, and we brought the members of the community. We did an advocacy to make them understand that they own this PAC, and if this PAC fails, they should consider themselves as failure as well. If it succeeds, they have succeeded, and they have to do everything possible to ensure everything is kept within checks. There has to be some monitoring from the members of the community. They should develop community development champions that can be part of the monitoring of the PACs. And before you know it, a PAC that was not having wash facilities regularly, they start having water supplies in the facility. If the waters, if a pump should get bad, members of the community can mobilize to see how that can be fixed, because they understood it is for their own good. If they are women, they are in labor, they have a place where they can get to and get adequate attention. But if they don't do anything about the member of the community, nothing can be done. That's an intervention. You carry members of the community along. Okay. Now, on the second question, how to ensure, or how do you get partners to be interested in, in collaboration or in collaborating with you? It's key. Every partner is interested in collaboration because collaboration has to be a win-win for all. So it's your duty asking for collaboration. You need to look at this partner, what is going to be their benefit partnering with us. Like the example we have given, asking for collaboration from a supermarket. A supermarket, why should they collaborate on this particular project that we have just discussed, which is healthy kids, healthy future, how to promote nutritional whatever to kids? By simply saying this project, we intend to reach out to 1,000 number of participants. And in the process of reaching 1,000 number of participants, you as a supermarket, you have an opportunity to advertise for free to 1,000 people. So this is like a bait, something you are throwing out to the partner to want to like key in. Like there was a particular organization in Geneva that my organizations one certain time were trying to partner with them, and they were into health data governance for health, and they were very much particular about young people, an advocate of a team of hundreds and thousands of people. And one of the things that we pushed out to them for collaboration, we made them understand that we have a pool of volunteers running up to 8,000 people in Africa, a pool of volunteers. And for them, it was like, wow, these people have young people that we're looking for. So you can imagine they have a project that they have been pushing for acceptance at the WHO. And this project is particularly for low and medium income countries like most of our countries here. And you have partners that is telling you that they have a team of volunteers running up to thousands. So it means by partnering with them, you have an opportunity to reach out to thousands of people for free at no cost. So this is a benefit that every partner will want to key in. So there are so many opportunities that you want to look at from partners. You need to find out what they do, what are they really interested in, and see how you can bring it to them that, okay, partnering with us, you stand the chance to get this, you stand the chance for visibility. If it's an organization that doesn't have much visibility and you have the visibility, you can imagine you are writing to an organization that's not too known, but you are very much known. Maybe like in your social media handle, you have followers that are up to like 500,000. And this organization is big, is rich, the organization has a lot of resources, you have large number of followership. You can tell the funders that, okay, we have followership running up to 500,000 on our social media platform. So this is an opportunity for you to increase the visibility of your work beyond the region where your organization is. You can imagine bringing the name of your organization on our platform that we're partners, and this is how, so you just need to find out what the organization wants and to see how some organization, they want visibility. Some, they are looking for an extension works. They need an extension. So if you have the followership, use it to your advantage. If you have the visibility, use it to your advantage. Whatever you have, you need to look at, is the partner, is he interested in that? And you put it to him or her, or you put it to them. All right? Thank you very much. Any other question, comments? Any other comments? Any other comments? So thank you very much for your timing. And I want to believe we've learned so much in the course of this fellowship, and we've been able to, despite the challenges that we had, for some of you who are not really familiar, with me or they're not very close to me. I had a fire inferno on the 14th of February where my house was completely razed down by fire, where I lost everything. You know, it was quite a very strategic, you know, it was a traumatic, you know, menace which has befallen me. And you can imagine losing everything in one day, all the things that you've labored for, losing them to fire in a single day. And that was when we're actually preparing for this fellowship. My laptops, all gold bonds, you know, everything, lost everything. And for me, I said, okay, this is a setback, and I don't want this to affect this fellowship. You know, we made serious plans for this fellowship, but with what has happened, you know, we at a point in time we were considering putting it on hold. But I told myself, no, this has to go against all odds. No matter what, it must continue. And we're able to do all of these. Send for another laptop. The laptop took time to come. You know, before it gets to us, start planning all over again. So it was not really an easy task, you know, doing all of these all over again. So, but I'm very much glad, you know, we got value for this fellowship. And in the coming weeks, this we expect you to carry out a capstone project, just a simple capstone project. It could just be a health talk. It could just be anything. You can even decide to have a just you can use a digital platform for it. And by the time you do all of that, we expect to see images from you. Okay, so like we said during the course of this fellowship, you have seen the certification from this fellowship. It's not mandatory on anyone. If you feel there's a need for you to have this certificate, which we encourage people to have, you know, particularly those who follow this fellowship to the latter, you know, we'll be proud to see you have our certificate as one of the participants of this fellowship, you know. So details are going to be dropped, you know, immediately after this meeting for how payments can be made so that you can start making payment as much as possible. Like we said, the amount for the fellowship is going to be 10,000 naira for those in Nigeria, and those outside Nigeria, it's going to be an equivalent, you know, of $10, as we have stated earlier. So for you who are in Nigeria, the payments, we're going to give you how you are going to make these payments. And for those outside Nigeria, we also have a payment platform that you can use to send your payment. As soon as payment is sent, send us, you know, an evidence of payment, a screenshot, or just a receipt in the general platform of the fellowship. By the time we do that, payment is confirmed. You're going to be moved to another platform where the other plans continue. Okay, like we said, everybody is, well, you must have learned something in this fellowship. And if you want to be a graduate of this fellowship, you know, we encourage you to go for the certificate, which is 10,000 naira. But what I will do for those who are willing to make payment from today till tomorrow, you are given a discount to pay 7,000 naira. Well, this discount elapses for those who are going to pay for their certificate from today till tomorrow. All right. So if you have any other information, you should say it. I want to believe you're all excited about this count, and we hope to see you start making payment as soon as we drop the account details on how payment should be made. And as soon as payment for the certificate is made, drop evidence of payments, and you allow us to do the rest for you. Thank you very much. If there's any question, if there's any contribution, question particularly based on the certification, please let us know. Just raise up your hand so that we can give you opportunity to ask question. If there is none, we call it a day. All right, so in the absence of no question, I want to appreciate you for taking our time to be part of this fellowship and for you to join us and to make it a success at the end of the day. Thank you very much, for your time. Thank you very much for your expertise. It's something we value so much. Bye.